Hello and welcome back. Eldrigo Namaskara once again. Let's continue with the digestion chapter. We had all gone through the different types of digestive glands and whatever they produce until the previous session. Alright, just a quick look before we start again. I want you all to give a minute and look at this entire chart. Okay, carefully. Just take a note of what contents get digested in which part of the alimentary canal. So the parts of the alimentary canal where the things get digested are mentioned here. Here the parts. Okay, the stomach, intestine. What are the elements that get digested where has been mentioned here. So just have a look. Okay. So today we shall go ahead and try to understand the chemical reactions that actually happen in the body by the action of all the enzymes that we have studied so far. Okay? Yeah. So how does the digestion of carbohydrate take place in our body? We'll just look at this. The salivary amylase, which is produced by the saliva. It's a part of saliva. Pancreatic amylase is produced by the pancreas. Okay, so the polysaccharides are converted into dextrins, or rather the oligosaccharides, then which gets converted into the disaccharide maltose. Similarly, the disaccharides, if they are consumed, they are converted into the other disaccharide form directly, are taken into the small intestine, are digested right there. In case you consume monosaccharide, let us say you are simply going to eat a spoon of glucose or drink a glass of water with glucose in it, so it does not need any kind of digestion or action by the salivary amylase nor the pancreatic amylase, right? So it straight away goes to your intestine. Okay, it straight away goes there and gets absorbed. That is the reason why you all know that glucose is the primary source of energy. In the cellular respiration, whatever we study, we know that glucose is acted upon, okay, by the enzymes, and in the presence of oxygen, it is the glucose that gets broken down and produces energy, right? So whenever you faint or you for sudden energy boost, you are given a glass of glucose, right? Because it does not need any digestion, and the process of digestion requires lot of energy. In such a situation, you yourself do not have any energy, that you are given a bowl of rice, and whenever somebody has fallen or fainted out of lack of energy, do they provide them with proper food? They try to at least search for sugar or glucose, rather glucose directly, so that this glucose directly goes into the stomach and gets absorbed. Some amount of glucose also gets directly absorbed in the stomach, while most of it reaches the intestine quickly, and then instant energy is provided, and within a short period of time you are back to normal. That is because your energy is not furthermore used in conversion, that is in the digestion, but you're still getting the end product that is going to help in the formation of energy in the body. Please take a note of this point. Okay. Yeah, so sucrose is lactose, we'll start with that. Lactose is converted into galactose in the presence of lactase. Sucrose is converted into fructose and glucose in the presence of sucrase. Maltose is converted into glucose in the presence of maltase. So maltose is a combination of two glucose molecules. Sucrose is a combination of a glucose molecule with a fructose molecule. Lactose is a combination of galactose and glucose molecule. Okay. Yeah, let's go ahead. The proteins that are in our that are consumed in the body, okay, either in complex protein forms or the ones that are converted into peptones and proteose. Okay, the conversion of polypeptides into peptones and proteoses happens in the stomach by the action of pepsin. Okay, please remember this. Now all these different types of proteins are acted upon by trypsin, that is produced in the pancreatic, that's a part of pancreatic juice. Chymotrypsin, that is also part of pancreatic juice. Carboxypeptidases, all of these are going to form dipeptides. The proteins, peptones and proteoses form dipeptides by the action of the above middle three enzymes. Polysaccharides such as the starch is converted into disaccharides in the presence of amylase. We are well aware of this point by now. Fats are converted by lipase into diglycerides and further into monoglycerides. Okay. Nucleic acids are converted into nucleotides and nucleosides by the action of nucleases. Right? Alright. Again coming to this. Dipeptides that are formed in the previous slide. Okay. Dipeptides are converted into the ultimate monomer, that is the amino acid, in the presence of dipeptidases. Maltose is converted into glucose plus glucose by maltase. I mentioned this point just 2 slides before. Lactose is converted into glucose and galactose in the presence of lactase. Sucrose is converted into glucose and fructose in the presence of sucrase. Nucleotides, now not nucleic acids, nucleotides are converted into nucleosides by nucleotidases. In case there are nucleosides, then nucleosides are converted into sugars and bases in the presence of nucleosidases. Diglycerides and monoglycerides are converted into the end products of fatty acids and glycerol in the presence of lipase. Okay, just properly with full concentration have a look at this slide. Capture it in the form of a photographic memory. Okay. Alright. Yeah, just a representation of how fats are digested. Liver, the gallbladder produces bile. Okay, the pancreas, which produces lipases, they both act on the micelle. Okay, micelle is nothing but combination of proteins and lipids. Alright, so they are broken down by the action of lipase. Okay, they converted into triglycerides. And we have brushed in the intestine. These micelles are absorbed. Finally, we get the triglycerides, monoglycerides, free fatty acids and the biliary salts. Fat, triglyceride is emulsified, forms into emulsified fat by the action of bile salts. Okay, sodium taurocholate is an example of a bile salt. I'll just write it here. The emulsified fat further is converted into fatty acid and diglyceride by pancreatic lipase. Diglycerides are converted into fatty acids and monoglyceride by again pancreatic lipase. Monoglycerides are converted into fatty acid and the glycerol, which are the actual end products of lipids, by pancreatic amylase. Alright, so different forms. Until and unless the fat is converted into fatty acids and glycerol, pancreatic lipase keeps acting on it. Right? So proteins are converted into, in so many slides, in same content is being shown to you in different forms, just to tell you the importance of it, how much you need to remember these concepts. Okay, so proteins are converted into proteoses, peptones and polypeptides by pepsin. Where is pepsin present? Please recollect for yourself. Pepsin is present in the stomach. It is produced by the chief cells, that in the form of pepsinogen, which is converted into pepsin by HCl. Okay. Yeah, next, all these three contents are converted into polypeptides and amino acids. We already know trypsin, chymotrypsin, carboxypeptidase and proelastase convert them into polypeptides and amino acids. Finally, peptidases forms two amino acids. Okay? Yeah. Now you just look at this and try to recollect whatever is being told. What all gets digested here? Carbohydrate in the mouth. No lipids, no proteins. Or even if they do, it is negligible. In stomach, no carbohydrates, no lipids, but proteins. In intestine, all of them. Okay? Yeah. Specifically in the duodenum. In the other lower intestine, these. So I won't explain this chart. I want you to recollect whatever has been told till now and correlate. Try to understand this chart by yourself. I'll give you exactly a minute. Okay, I hope you all have understood this, because this part, when we in the very first session I explained to you about what part of content. 55% of questions in digestion chapter, if they appear, they are going to be mostly from this section, the reactions and the enzymes that act. Okay, that's the reason I've been stressing on these points so much. Okay, yeah. Now coming to the last section of digestion and absorption, it is the digestive disorders. So parasites infecting the digestive system: the tapeworm, hookworm, pinworm, roundworm, threadworm, viruses and bacteria. See, our body has opening through the mouth, okay, through which there can be any of the form of these insects that will these kind of pathogens that will enter our body. Now remember that bacteria and viruses, we cannot see them through our naked eyes, but there are other parasites which are actually visible to us through our naked eyes, but they do not enter our body in that form. As I mentioned a point somewhere before, that they come in encysted form, either in their egg form or in kind of a protective encyst or cysts, where inside the organism or the egg of the organism is present. Okay, once they come and find a suitable environment inside the body, they hatch open. Okay, and the organism gets attached to the surface. Okay, let us say this is the intestine. It gets attached to the wall of the intestine. They have special structures called as hooks that help them in adhering to the wall of the intestine. Okay, so this is how they are endoparasites. Endo again refers to the organisms that are going to reside inside the body of the host, specifically in the alimentary canal. Now you may wonder why alimentary canal. Even liver is such a big place, kidneys are there, lungs are there, why only alimentary canal? This is because parasites come in search of food. And where is food being provided? Directly, that is in the intestinal region or the alimentary canal. That's the reason they come and attack the small intestine specifically, or the large intestine. Next, coming to the digestive system disorders, we find jaundice as one among them. Okay, nausea and vomiting, blood in the stool, peptic ulcers, diarrhea and gallstones. Any organ related to digestive system, if it has any disorder, we can include them under this section. Gallstones are nothing but the stones similar to the ones that are formed in kidney stones. Okay, so these stones are actually accumulation of salts. Okay, they are accumulation of or mineralization, hardening of certain contents, and they are getting together, accumulation, which leads into hard structures called as the stones. Okay, so gallstones are, they are removable by laser treatment. They can be excised, but this is because of improper, all of these, understand, the ones, unless they are pathogenic infections. Okay, all the others are because of improper lifestyle management. Okay, diarrhea, in case you consume, some kind of these above insects also can lead to diarrhea sometimes. But diarrhea leads to loose stools, or completely loose fecal passing, which completely dehydrates the body because large amount of water is lost. The capacity of the large intestine to absorb water is absent. So as a result, what happens is there is uncontrolled peristalsis. Of course, initially the peristalsis is not under our will and wish, but it is also not controlled by the system. Okay, so that's the reason you frequently have to go visit the washroom, right? Because of uncontrolled or involuntary peristalsis that leads to the passage of water, a lot of water, along with the undigested food. Peptic ulcers are the inflammation or the cuts that happen in the region of, on the walls of the alimentary canal. This can be in the stomach as well as in the intestine. Internal bleeding happens in peptic ulcers. Okay, and continuous burning sensation will be there, abdominal pain will be seen. All right, so this happens under high, when the acidic content of the chyme or the is really high. Blood in the stools, this happens because of any kind of rupture that might have happened in the large intestine. Okay, due to presence of ulcers or anything, there can be cuts along the wall of the intestine, and the stools will exhibit the blood. Okay, nausea and vomiting. Vomiting is a regurgitation wherein improper peristalsis kind of makes the cardiac sphincter involuntary. It does not close properly, and due to indigestion, there are chances that the cardiac sphincter, where do you find the cardiac sphincter? Before the stomach. Okay, between, it is at the junction of esophagus and stomach. When this cardiac sphincter is going to open up, there is going to be vomiting or regurgitation. Next is the jaundice. I'm just going in reverse manner. Jaundice is the disorder actually of the liver, where the RBCs that are broken down, the metabolism does not happen properly, and the biliverdin which are produced, they are not properly directed into the bloodstream. They are not properly excreted out. Okay, that's the reason the blood cells, they contain these pigments, and that's why the light shape parts of the body, that is, the sclera of the eye or the tongue or the nails, they all appear yellowish in color. More than, they're all actually white, but they appear yellowish in color because of the presence of the bile pigments that have moved away from getting excreted. They are circulating in the blood system. Okay, this was just a gist of it. Here we will come to some other digestive disorders. Many bacterial, protozoan, parasitic and viral infections cause inflammation of the intestine. Inflammation is nothing but swelling and burning sensation happening at the same time. Okay. Some of the common disorders are jaundice, vomiting, diarrhea, constipation and indigestion. I did not mention about constipation in the previous slide. Constipation is completely, there is no mobility of fecal matter from the rectum. You have to, a person who is suffering from constipation has to force the fecal matter to move out, and this can result in rupturing of the rectal lining or the anal lining. It can lead to anal fissures. Okay, fissures are nothing but the cuts that happen around the wall of the anus. There is improper water absorption or too much water absorption that results in hardening of the fecal matter and makes the passage of fecal matter close to impossible. Okay, next is the diseases due to malnutrition are very common in developing and underdeveloped countries. Now this is a very important part of digestive system. Malnutrition is not only, when a body is not provided with proper nutrition. Sometimes when there is, malnutrition can occur even when there is imbalanced diet. Overconsumption of fatty foods, overconsumption of carbohydrates, or just in short, not maintaining balanced diet can lead to malnutrition. Malnutrition just need not mean a boy who is very lean with just ribs being visible. No, that is not what is malnutrition. A person who is over obese or even obese is also a type of malnutrition. Mal means something which is not proper. Okay, yeah. First type of it is protein energy malnutrition, PEM, abbreviated as that. It causes marasmus kwashiorkor in infants and children. As mentioned above here, it is seen in underdeveloped or developing countries. Okay, yeah. So marasmus, it is due to the deficiency of protein and calories intake. Okay, remember, marasmus is because of absence of proteins and carbohydrates or any kind of calorie intake. In short, they are just deprived of food, any kind of food. They just don't get it. Generally, we see such situations in African countries. Not only that, even in many other countries which are underdeveloped or developing, we do find this because they do not have any source of food, proper food. Even getting a meal of one time is a difficult task. The condition is characterized by thinning of limbs, extreme emaciation, dry and wrinkled skin, and mental impairment. When you do not provide your body with food, how will your mind work? Right? You just skip one meal. Can you focus on the other things that you're going to do post that? No. So, food is, as I told you, it is a fuel. Not just compare it to just eating and all that. Without this fuel, how is your engine going to work? Right? This is similar to that. Kwashiorkor is due to deficiency of protein. So it's exclusively protein deficiency. Now, generally the questions, whenever any question appears regarding the disorders, it is about these malnutrition contents only. Context. It is under that context. So kwashiorkor is exclusively protein malnutrition. But marasmus includes the malnutrition of proteins, carbohydrates, and fats. So there is wasting of muscles, but some fat is still present under the skin. The condition is characterized by swelling and extensive edema of the body parts. Edema is nothing but the skin, drying of the skin, scaly skin. Okay, presence of highly dry, no moisture on the skin. How will it appear? That way. Okay, yeah. So for now we will just take a small pause till and unless I start with the questionnaire.